So because I'm American, a lot of people don't know that I'm a product of the Windrush generation. In the 60s, a bunch of West Indians and Caribbean folks moved from their islands to the UK for better opportunities and jobs. But let's backtrack a little bit, because it wasn't just that they moved because there's better opportunity in the UK. It's also because the UK stole so many resources from the islands and left people without jobs, food, and oftentimes roofs over their heads. I recently learned from my great aunt, because if you know anything about like West Indian families, like learning things about your family is like a contact sport, so you kind of like have to dose it out over years. But my great aunt was telling me a few months ago that when the British left Barbados, there were so many people without jobs and without incomes that people would come up to their back door at their home in St. Andrew and beg for food. The home that my grandmother grew up in Barbados is a 2-bedroom home that had 11 people living in it. And it's only really been in recent years that they reconfigured the place. But my great-grandmother was feeding 9 children, herself and her husband, and was also giving out food to people who needed it at the time. And I don't say this to say that the British were necessary. God knows they were not. But they stole resources from the colonies and never paid reparations to these places, leaving people destitute and in search of anything that could put a roof over their heads and keep their bills paid. So people immigrated to the UK and sent money back to the islands. So when the UK pretends to have an immigration problem, what they really have is a theft problem. They stole resources, and like America, are somehow shocked that people immigrate back to the country that stole their resources for the opportunities those resources produced, and are angry because non-white people, people who are black, people who are Indian, are somehow stealing the jobs. If you want to talk about job theft, if you want to talk about resource theft, and no, it does not in any way, shape, or form shock me the rioting that is happening amongst entitled white people in the UK. They're not just a product of their environment, they're a product of their history.